Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm Sophie Vida and I'm the host of Graceful Connections, a new breed of online events presented by Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts founded by Christel Hughes. The fourth edition is launching this Friday, September 13th. We have selected gifted healers, experts, high-level intuitives, of course, to be your guides into gracefully catalyzing your intuition. They will lead you into exploring whole new possibilities, calling forth inspiration, revealing higher perspectives and unique wisdom, discovering and activating your abilities to fulfill your heart's desires and your soul's purpose. To receive all your invitations, your sacred welcome gifts from the experts, and to be sure you won't miss any of the goodness, make sure to sign up at gracefulconnections.com. That's graceful with two L's, as in full of grace, right? gracefulconnections.com. It's free and it's open to everyone. You have the sign up link on your webcast and replay pages. And today we're together for a very special time. This is our warm up pre-party for this fourth edition of Graceful Connections. Yes, we're celebrating coming back together in the Orb of Grace for a whole new exciting adventure of exploration, discovery, healing, liberation, growth, and truthful expression. And we couldn't be in greater company than with our very own Christel Hughes, founder of the Academy for the Soul. But first, let's begin with creating our safe, sacred space with the Orb of Grace. Of course, that's where we want to be with our special guests, so let's do that. Let's relax, taking a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. And let's bring all of your attention and your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flow serve our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. I invite you to open your heart and be ready to receive. And to open your mind and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth, and your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe. You are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe, relaxed, and ready, and open to receive. Now I'm calling the Orb of Grace from the heart of the universe and placing the Orb of Grace around our group, our gathering, and each and every one of us. That we be held in the Orb of Grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the subtle high frequency of grace. Allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify all that needs to be so. In purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. Beautiful. Now within this sacred space of the Orb of Grace, I'm delighted to welcome Christel Hughes. Welcome, Christel. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Here you
Yes,
are.
sorry.
Where are you hiding?
I was out there. I was literally feeling like beautiful grace light pumping through me. I went into a little bit of a bliss state, and just opening the gateway and bringing it through. But yes, thank you for having me here, everyone. Feels like home. It's so precious to be in this orb, in this sanctuary of light, and to just feel the beautiful blessing of everyone here gathered together. I just feel the unity. I feel that sense, that sensation of connectedness here. So yes, and I'm excited to share things today with you. That's what I said. There's so many beautiful things that have come through recently with my beautiful spiritual adventure that I've been on. So yes, thank you. Blessings. And Sophie, thank you for hosting and being such a gracious host. So expansive, so lovely.
Thank you. Well, we're delighted that you're with us. Thank you, Christel. Well, I was wondering, do I even need to introduce Christel? Well, maybe for some of you who may be new to this community, welcome to all of you. So let me share a bit about Christel. Christel Hughes is a multidimensional visionary, holographic high priestess, and multisensory intuitive, specializing in energetic healing and rapid transformation. And yes, we're always in awe because of her lightning fast and laser focused intuitive readings that go directly to the core of the issue. She pinpoints it immediately. The Academy for the Soul was born through Christel as the online school for intuitive arts, helping you discover and develop your intuitive gifts and then share those gifts with the world as an offering. Christel's work has broadened to include connecting with Archangel Metatron and mediating for Metatron's cube to instantly shift a person's consciousness, undoing mental, emotional, and physical limitations, as well as opening up their higher channels of communication. And I think very much higher, and you're going to take us even more higher today, Christel. And today, together, we've created Graceful Connections. So yes, this is your home, Christel. Thank you for being with us today and for your brilliant offering, sharing with us the most advanced, leading-edge perspectives on intuition. And I'd like to begin with setting the landscape before you take us to whole new higher heights, Christel. Let's meet everyone in the audience where they're at, and then I trust that you are going to shoot us into cosmic dimensions. So before we take a deep dive into exploring the multiple facets of intuition, and with Christel discovering the latest trends and developments she will share with us as a multidimensional visionary, I want to let you know that later on in our call today, Christel will be answering your burning questions on intuition. That's right. Anything you want to know about intuition that has been puzzling you, that you're intrigued about, as well as about what Christel will be sharing today. And I can feel there's some brand new revelations in the air. So we'll take questions from the Q&A box. So make sure to put your questions in the Q&A box on the webcast page. And let's begin discovering our landscape of intuition, right? And when I was pondering the multiple facets of intuition, I could distinguish 5 facets that pretty much overlap to some degree. First, there's the day-to-day intuition, that's guidance for life. And this is where synchronicities abound. And it goes beyond just being aligned with truth. It goes all the way to embodiment of truth and living as truth. And as you totally model it, Christel, as we know. And this is such a delightful experience, and especially traveling as intuitives, right? When intuitives travel together, that's something phenomenal. You need to experience this. You need treat you this, if only for this purpose, I would say, get your intuitive, um, get your intuition kicking, because that's a whole new type of travel you will experience. But there's something even much more profound than just accessing divine guidance, which in itself, of course, it is huge. But what is even more profound here is that it allows you to live free from dogma, right? To get the indication, the inspiration, the insight of every moment. What does this moment call for? No more dogma, no more should, no more preconceived ideas or whatever. It is total freedom. So that's our day-to-day intuition. And yes, it is huge. Second, we have dharmic intuition. That's intuition for our purpose work, or intuition as part or even as a foundation of our mastery as healers, leaders, messengers or channelers, creators, artists, right? Intuition becomes a foundation of our work. So that's dharmic intuition. We also have evolutionary intuition. That's intuition as part of the new human, the new ascended human. And here it's all about reclaiming intuition as the new normal. And that's where we're heading. If we are not there already, that's where we're heading, right? And also, I was I was perceiving what I would call creative intuition. And we can wonder, does intuition lead us to opportunities, or does it actually create them? Right? And there's a fine line between intuition guiding us and manifestation. Right? And where is this fine line? What's going on there? And a little bird told me that, Christel, you're going to share with us about magnetic intuition very soon. And I'm wondering if that's what it's all about, where we magnetize the manifestation of that which we intuitively perceive or create. Or is there more to magnetic intuition? Please don't answer right now. Let's keep it a bit intriguing and mysterious for a moment, right? Let me just put it there, right? There may be more to it. And also in our landscape there is multi-channel intuition as opposed to single-channel intuition, right? We all have our primary or main intuitive channels, right? Some of us are more clairvoyant or more clairaudient or more clairsentient, but eventually we are all called to tap into all the channels, all the intuitive senses. And even if we have a primary one or a specialty, we need to embrace and cultivate all our intuitive abilities, right? Just like we embrace all our chakras, right? It wouldn't occur to us to just focus on the heart or just focus on our third eye and let the rest be dormant, right? That just wouldn't make sense and wouldn't work at all. So there is this multi-channel intuition that we need to consider. So all of this really is what the Academy for the Soul has been training hundreds or maybe even thousands of people for during many years. And we're so graceful, and we're so grateful to you. Yes, this is so graceful. I'm mixing one and the other. They're so close, right?
Love it,
Graceful and grateful, right? So grateful to you, Christel, for the vision that you had many years ago of creating this online school for intuitive arts, and the tremendous offering that it has grown into. And yes, I want to personally celebrate you for that, Christel, because it certainly has up-leveled my work and my whole life in ways that I couldn't even conceive of when we first met just 7 years ago exactly. And I'm sure that many in the audience are celebrating you as well. So yes, this party today is also in celebration and in honoring of you, Christel. So that's a surprise for you. Maybe you
Oh,
didn't
thank you.
expect that, didn't see it coming, but here it is, yes.
Mm.
And now, so I set the landscape, but I sense that there is more. Like there's a whole new level of intuition and of intuitive artistry that is open or opening. And as the visionary that you are, Christel, I know you always have your finger on the intuitive pulse, and I'm sure you're going to reveal to us what's next, what's new, what's coming for all of us to comprehend, to embrace, to activate, to realize. So, up to you, Christel. What's new?
Yeah,
What's coming?
yes, yes. And I think you're calling something out. Sophie, you're just echoing a bit. Maybe you might want to mute yourself. You're just
Okay,
echoing a bit when I
I
talk.
will.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's being drawn through me to share is actually a more expansive perspective and just an introduction into this, because what you've been sharing is a wonderful framework, right? And that's how we love to learn. We love to gain a sense of where we can place things. And we have gone from this position early on in Academy, and how I actually downloaded in the intuitive assessment that I do the specific things that we must know as a human. We need to know how our masculine and feminine plays in with our intuition and how they play together, how they honor and respect each other or not. We need to know the way that we uniquely flow that energy through us. And so for many, many years, we've been looking at in what order do the clairs come through. And we've also been working to understand the symbology of our vertical and horizontal channels, and how many of us are verticals, which are more a classic channel. We're downloaders of information. We take in that information. We assimilate that information within us through the unique constitution that we have. And we also could have our horizontal channel working, which really is moving from that center, our heart center of influence, to the circle of influence. That means that we're an intuitive that's meant to share the information with the world and truly interact with others. So we could be teaching a modality. We can be on summits or on podcasts. We are meant to be, quote, out there, right? And we start to observe what's blocking. We look at our gateways, our mediumship gate and how that flows. And we start to see our unique way as a transmitter and a receiver and the apparatus, if you will, that lives within us. And beyond that, we start going into observing the pathway of the light. And we start to look at the channels, specifically and uniquely within us. Where are these channels? So we discovered in our evolution that our celestial body is highly absorbent to the light of truth, the light of grace, and the love light, and bringing that through and looking at our aura as a means to really support our soul's intention to utilize the dance and the play with the light and with love, and knowing that that can increase our dharmic offering, right? Our dharmic offering. And so we started observing in the celestial body, just bringing everyone up to date, in the celestial body, that we could see inversions happening with that celestial body due to attachments that were blocking intuition. We then started observing these access points that we actually had specific access points. And at these access points, if we zoomed in and looked at them, that they were little mini toroidal fields. And the light was coming in. Specifically, you would have an access point if you wanted to utilize your clairsentience in a very healthy way, your clairvoyance in a healthy way. These access points are brilliant, and they showed themselves to me. And so we started understanding that looking at the structure of our energetic field beyond the celestial body, right? As a collective, were we not working on the light body? And the light body being very structural in the sense that it was building out. And we were consciously co-creating the building out of the light body because we knew it would support us in traversing the realms. And in work with the celestial body, in work with these access points as toroidal fields, and observing that in the center point of the access point, you could get to 0 point energy. You could get beyond polarity. And you could be in that experience, floating in the oneness that would make you a receptive, high-level channel. It would allow you to not have your personas judging how you are good at intuition, how you're not, are you accurate, are you not, taking you out of the mindset and the judgment. Instead, being the witness observer. And that was one of the main key things that we always took our students through, is that we could put you in situations and create a conscious context for which the light would flow through and you could recognize it in real time. So therefore, you knew it was real. And so as we've evolved, and this is where we come to what we're calling dimensional intuition, and I have to share, Sophie, that I've just come back from 6 weeks of deep inner work on myself. And in those 6 weeks, I was doing humanitarian efforts and really allowing myself to be fully present to what it meant to be humbled by others, and also to be in a heightened state of compassion, being called to this heightened state of compassion with this combination of humility. And I had a brilliant illumination, which unfortunately today we don't have time to go into, but I will be talking about that soon, because that does play a huge role, and a lot more puzzle pieces will come together for you, because this isn't just my story. And I want to share with everyone that in taking the time to share with you my story and the adventures of that experience, this is for you. I'm sharing it because it's triggering something within you that will support you. And my being has come into and incarnated into this world to move through the gateway as I learn, as I'm remembering, as I am expanding. It's to move through the gateway and to offer and extend my hand to you, and also to know the truth of you and to hold that truth of you as you walk through the gateways of evolution, which now we're understanding in this specific time period is about going from ascension to elevation. And now we are at dimensional intuition. And if we look at dimensional intuition, I want to just give just a slight little, it's not a definition, but it's just a context so you can understand and really pace me as we're going through this. And I just ask you to drop into your heart, but really let your higher mind come in, because there's contributions that you will bring to this conversation, and I know it. There's awakenings and ahas that you will have for yourself. But as we look at dimensional intuition as an art, really of expressing and refining intuitive abilities. And this is across the spectrum of reality's dimensions. Each dimension offers a unique lens. I always like to say, you know, you're actually the camera, and it's like God's hands pick you up, and if you allow the divine, it will move you into that multi-perspectivality. It will position you, and you have to surrender to the positioning of that. And you have to be in a heightened state of awareness that when you are positioned, even outside of what you would want to be positioned, a place you might not want to go, or someplace that's uncomfortable, if you surrender in that moment, you're going to perceive and you're going to interact with the universe in such a unique way. And so we want to understand these layers and how they can elevate your intuitive skill set and go to the profound, go to the awe-inspiring. So I want to share a story because I think we want to be in exploration. That's one of the ways that I have continued to grow and expand my degree of extension, that I can extend myself and still be in a structural foundation. I can still be held. And you'll understand a little bit more as I share on this what I mean by just this foundational structure, no matter where I'm at on my journey and with my intuition and my power, my intuitive power that comes through me, because it is a rush and you have to be able to hold it, and your body has to be able to hold that as a container for the light. But I also want this to reveal this interplay of masculine and feminine energies and the expansive nature of our intuitive capacity. So do I have permission, Sophie, to share this story with you and everyone?
Yes, please. Oh, yes, please. You're intriguing us. So, yes, please share.
So, it was one of those moments after coming out of my 6 weeks of travel. I was still in the illumination. In other words, holding that illumination for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. It was in that range where I could feel, this energy of life coming back in and kind of rushing in to certain places. But one of those moments when you feel the veils between the worlds seem thin, almost transparent, and in this deep meditation, just exploring the nature of the dimensions and this intricate connection that I was having in that experience, in the illumination. And I was being drawn to focus in on understanding the flow of energies that define each dimension, but like a puzzle. It had intrigued me for so long because I was looking just at the dimension. I wasn't looking at how is our intuition developed at this dimension. What is the expression of intuition at this dimension versus that dimension? And I could sense I was on the brink of a revelation, but the pieces just hadn't fallen into place yet. So asking that question, really holding that question in my heart as I sat there, I was just breathing deeply. I started to visualize the layers of reality and each dimension almost unfurling before me like pages in a cosmic book. And I could sense the energy bodies and see them, the energy bodies of the aura actually shimmering and vibrating, almost alternating. And what I know about the energy bodies is they alternate between structure and this ethereal nature, between masculine and feminine. So the structural energy bodies are more masculine, and the ethereal energy bodies are more feminine in their force and in their nature. And suddenly, it's like a bolt of lightning. which all my illuminations are, by the way, it really struck me. And each dimension follows the same alternating pattern. The first dimension masculine, the second dimension feminine, the third masculine again. And this rhythmic dance of energies continued up through the higher dimensions, each one really resonating with either the masculine or feminine essence and the interplay. And the realization was so clear in that moment. The dimensions themselves are woven with this alternating energetic fabric, just like the layers of the aura. And I felt a rush of excitement. It was like the moment of clarity. But before I could fully grasp the implications of that, the atmosphere in the room shifted. And the air grew lighter in the sense almost like I could taste the air as light. And it was a mysterious energy. And I sensed a presence, and it was powerful. I could feel the ancient nature of this energy. It seemed to vibrate with knowledge. There was, again, a pulsation through my own body, but it was as if everything dimmed around me. And in that dimming light, I saw this vertical column that came through, and it was a vertical column of light, and it began to form in front of me. Now, interesting enough, it was ethereal, almost translucent, but with this distinct solidity to its edges. The left and right sides of the column were more opaque, and they were shimmering with kind of a deep, almost like that pearlescent hue, when you're looking at that opaque nature of something. And while the front and the back remained almost entirely transparent. So it was like the thinnest, finest little energy waves that I could see. And I kind of gazed at it, right? It was like, what's this mysterious column before me? And then suddenly this figure began to materialize within it. And I got chills emerging from that shimmering light. My breath just kind of caught in that moment. And then I had this knowing that it was Archangel Raziel. And Archangel Raziel, the keeper of divine secrets, this is about the mysteries of the universe. Now, years and years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, my daily prayer was, let me know the secrets of the universe, right? Well, here's Archangel Raziel finally coming in, okay? And he's known as the guardian of esoteric knowledge. So what do you want to know? And so the presence was overwhelming to me, literally tears in my eyes, just radiating. It felt comforting, but also awe-inspiring. So it was like, wow, I want to sink down into this, but also I want to know, and I want to go higher. I want to invite the knowledge and wisdom to pour into me. And in that moment, Archangel Raziel's eyes met mine, and it was just like piercing. The gaze just felt like it was gazing through the core of my being, and I just had this knowing in my heart and the knowing smile that I could sense on Archangel Raziel, like, here we are, I've finally arrived. And I was never, ever consciously calling forth Archangel Raziel. I don't know why, but it's okay, because suddenly within that column, I started seeing symbols and scrolls were appearing. And it was just like they were floating in the translucent space. Now, they were intricate. Some were glowing with a soft kind of light, but I could sense each one was this key to some kind of vast library of cosmic knowledge. And the symbols were literally dancing before my eyes as if I started to understand more of this column really being a portal and an opening for understanding that was gracing me. And they started rearranging themselves as if they were inviting me to understand their secrets, almost like I could read the book of the symbols. Now, the realization really hit me that I was being shown this infinite library. It's an infinite, it's vast, it's a repository of wisdom. It spans all dimensions. The dimensions were not just in one way. The dimensions are in both directions. All realities, the mirroring of the dimensions, as we could say 0 to 1 and up, and then 0 to 1 and down into infinity as well. And I was in the space with Archangel Raphael in the middle point of the dimensions where the mirror was. Now, it doesn't surprise me because I had just had this aha not long ago about the mirror beings and our mirror being guides as oracles. These oracles are mirror beings. And so I've been playing in the mirroring effect and the reflection and the nature of reflection in our world. And Raphael wasn't just showing me this sacred space. He was inviting me to step into it and to access these scrolls and the symbols. Oh, it's catching me right now. And to bring the knowledge into the world. So that's why I'm here. That's why it's so important. It's important for me, and I was really asking, can I bring this dimensional intuition through? Because I know the power of this moment that I had in really having a wave come over me that inspired me to continue on. And as all of us growing and expanding and our desire of our heart to be in our Dharma, to live our Dharma, to live, I only want to live as the divine expression, the highest expression, and to do the works of that, whatever that is, how small, how large. And this experience was so profound. The vertical column that Raphael had manifested as a portal, it was a bridge between the seen and the unseen worlds, between the masculine and feminine energies that flow through each dimension. The opaque sides of the column symbolized the structured, solid aspects of the knowledge, while the transparent front and back represented the fluid, ethereal nature of divine wisdom. This was a perfect balance, a perfect union of opposites. This was in the no polarity zone. And as we felt that opacity and the translucence of the column also mirrored the delicate balance between the tangible and intangible. So Raphael's revelation was not just about understanding the dimensions, but about embodying their essence, integrating their energies into a harmonious wholeness. And Raphael then started floating back, almost like, allowing me to fully absorb what was happening. And it was this knowing that just came over me, but I started to recognize Archangel Raphael really as a guardian for me and a guide. Now, there was a lot of support that I felt to navigate this just really revealed dimension of understanding. I mean, I realized then that this wasn't just a vision for me alone. And showing me that I had a role to play in helping others access this knowledge and really guiding them, guiding all of you, just sharing this, just heart to heart. Connect with the wisdom. And the symbols and scrolls within the column began to go even brighter, and then suddenly it was like urging me to take the first step, right? And suddenly I reached out. I could feel the energy of the symbols resonating with my own, and I've worked with Archangel Metatron's cube for a long time, so I've already had this initiation into the beautiful sacred geometry. This was so unique. It was a moment of pure magic. It was a connection to the divine that transcended any words. I couldn't even speak if I wanted to. And the feeling just deep within my soul, all the way down, was of that feeling that we have when we are inspired by a new journey. And so this was about really unlocking the mysteries of the dimensions and knowing that infinite wisdom of Archangel Raziel was right there. And we're all going to be able to grasp that. So just as suddenly as it appeared, the column began to fade. I can recreate it, but the column began to fade, the symbols, the scrolls kind of dissolving in the air like a kiss goodbye. Raziel kind of grew fainter, but I could just feel the presence in my heart, and especially because I was in that illumination experience, that experience allowed me, and I'll share more about that coming up, but wow, it felt like I had been entrusted with something, and everything kind of felt brighter, more connected. There was a depth of my heart, really a pulsation in the inner sanctum within me that was extraordinary. And that, I was forever changed, and it would forever change the way that we understand the dimensions and the energy that flow through them. So still buzzing with energy, all of a sudden that's where, right, it really started to come around, and the dimensions, alternating masculine and feminine, just weren't concepts, like abstract concepts. They're living, they're breathing aspects of the universe. They're waiting to be explored, understood. They're waiting for us to integrate this wisdom deep within, and that's when I really started to look at, whoa, this journey where we've embarked upon an incredible degree of discovery, where we were really focusing on that fifth dimension for so long with the light body and the structure of the golden grid of grace, and where we were doing our healing, Sophie. And then jumping to that seventh dimension. If you guys haven't known, I've been working in the seventh dimension now for a while, and really feeling into the holodeck. And the seventh dimension is this holographic dimension. And yet wondering, why did we skip the sixth dimension? And the sixth dimension is the magnetic dimension. But guess what? The sixth dimension really corresponds with the fifth dimension. It's the feminine nature of the masculine fifth dimension. It's the cohort. And so as we start to play in this world, I know, Sophie, you probably have some comments and questions, or but to really grasp that dance, and now having been brought to the seventh dimension for so long with the fifth, then my full illumination was really with the feminine cohort of the masculine seventh dimension, the seventh dimension being the holodeck as a structure. So that's where we are now. We are understanding the dimensions are developmental experiences of our intuitive nature. Stages of development, if you will.
Yeah, wow. There's energy running up and down my spine. I don't know, is it like illustration of the dimensions and, moving up the dimensions? And okay. First question, Christel, when Archangel Raziel left, did he say, "I'll be back"?
And that's the beauty of it. When I got that energy in the innermost sanctum of my heart, which really is our 0 point within us that lives within us, it's the place we can connect and meet with all beings, right? People think we have to reach up, we have to reach out, we have to go higher. That is so far from the truth. How deep can you go into your own inner sanctum of your heart? Because that's where you're going to meet everybody. That's where you're going to meet the light of truth. That's where you're going to be able to experience and express. So since then, there has been moments of loving connection with Archangel Raziel that I've actually brought to, I first brought it, and I bring everything first to our school group. And I brought it to our school group. And of course, that's in that moment, as we know with intuition, we must practice. This is a learning moment here for everyone. Paying attention now, because when our intuitive hits come through, it's a prompting. And most of us hesitate to act on the prompting. We wait for more convincers to come instead of acting on the prompting. And I'm so guilty of this. For a long, long time, I made a deal with my guides and with the angels and with my higher self. You've got to prompt me 3 times before I'll believe it. And it wasn't a test. It was just my human needed confirmation in a way, because I didn't fully trust myself. The only way to trust yourself with your intuition is to practice your unique, special spiritual gift assignment. When you trust yourself enough, because you have practiced and you've been the witness observer to the energy flowing through, and you're willing to communicate, in that moment, you will build your own self-trust, which leads to self-love, which leads to the confirmation of I am. I am. Not I am an intuitive, or I am good at my craft, or I'm an amazing healer, or I'm a visionary, or I'm an artist. It's plainly I am. And we must put ourselves in the vulnerable situation to practice. I practice. And I practice with all of you in sharing this and being vulnerable with my intimate experiences and visions, which I've done for so many years now. That is such a gift. I used to be terrified. And through the grace, light coming through me, and through my dedication and devotion, like relentless devotion to the divine, obedience to the divine, I have gotten out of my comfort zone so much. And to be able to overcome that, to then go on to really step into the role that the divine has offered me, I can stay in that humility, which is a prime key. And also the compassion of understanding people are terrified of their intuitive power. But let's gain the wisdom and knowledge of the structures and the support that we have. And let's go beyond our personas, keeping us terrified because we want to play it safe. We want to be accepted by the people that we think love us. And maybe we're held back. We need to step out of the spiritual closet and really start to live intuition as truth, because light is truth. Truth is light. And love and light are 2 sides of the same coin. And so if we want to be loved, if we want to feel love within ourselves, the love of the divine, the love of acknowledgement of the power and the truth of who we are, then we have to play with light, and we have to let more light come through us.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much going through my attention. It's like I have to sort things out. What is for me to share right now? Well, there's one thing. Let's pick this up, because I believe that many are sharing this. The need to have 3. I also had like 3 convincers, right? When it's 3 times, I know that's real. But we're at a time where life is accelerating and everything is accelerating. Downloads are accelerating. The light pouring in is accelerating. Everything is accelerating. And in this acceleration, it's like what I'm feeling is like there's no time. Life doesn't have time, and the divine doesn't have time to say, okay, yeah, I'll give you 3 times or 5, or, or I'll wait until you're convinced so that you can take the next steps. What I'm seeing is like, the moment we ask for guidance, it's like we're like we're have our feet on the ground, but in front of us is an abyss. And the question that we ask, as we get the first answer, the subtle answer, not the third, right? The first one, maybe we don't even see the ground yet in front of us, but we need to take that step, a step of faith, right? And at the moment we take the step, at the very moment we put the feet on the ground shows up. And the ground wouldn't show up if we would stay on the safe ground and waiting for our 3 or 5 or however convincers, right? So the one thing is that it seems to me that, well, we all need to kind of snap out of this program or these programs that we have installed of oh, I need to be sure, I need to check, I need to double check, triple check. We need to be much more attentive and responsive right away. That's it. That's my answer. I get it, I do it, I follow. And once I get it, I'll get the next and I get the next. And it's very dynamic in that way. So that's one thing that comes to my attention with all you shared. I mean, there's so much more, but that's one first thing.
That's a divine feminine nature.
Mm-hmm.
To have the degree of surrendering, to allow the light to come through you, to trust that the stepping stone is going to be laid down just moments before you take, your foot lands on on the ground, right?
Right.
But that, what happens is that we have these aspects and these personas that are in the way, that are still functioning from what we would call a lower level masculine or feminine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we all intuitive? Yes. Why does that matter? That we're trying to understand more about it. Why does it matter to us? Because we're utilizing intuition in this conversation to get to know ourselves as the divine knows us.
Mm-hmm.
As the divine knows us, as the divine has created the structures of the universe, if we don't have context, it's like we're a river without the river banks. The river banks are the context for the river or the water to know where to flow.
Right.
And where does it flow? Into the ocean. Does the ocean have context? Does it have banks? Does it have sides? Yes.
Yes, they're far away, but they are.
They are. There is, right? There is. So the reason why we're exploring intuition in ourselves and understanding the nature of it is because it is the light that flows through our being. It's the aha. Do you know what symbol is the aha? The lightning bolt or the light bulb that goes on, right? Bam, right? Boom, boom, here we go. So in addressing the skepticism that the mind brings to intuition, it's the lower level masculine and lower level feminine that is playing within us. And our journey of ascension is about getting to our place of divine masculine and feminine, a divine dance. And now we start to see that we have been growing in our intuitive development. We've been growing in our spiritual development. We've been overcoming lower level thought forms and patterns and what we would call trauma and these paradigms. Why have we been doing it? We've been doing it to evolve. Why are we on this path? Who are we? And what is the unique way that the divine wants to flow through us? In other words, what is our greater dharma in this lifetime right now? What are we being animated, like prompted and animated to do, to act out in this play? And so when we can understand a context, intuition needs a context in order for it to come through. There's a context for this call today, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And therefore we can bring more light through on the topic. But if we don't have the context, it's very difficult for the divine to actually narrow down the vibration of the specific light that wants to flow through. Each representation, even of the archangels, why do we call an archangel Raphael versus Archangel Michael? Because they have a unique light form. And that light is literally embedded with specific vibrational frequencies. One is divine healing. The context, we need healing. So we call divine Archangel Raphael. The context, we need groundedness, we need strength, we need support. Call on Archangel Michael. It's a frequency of light. They're beings of light. And so if you don't have context, if you just try to sit in meditation and go, okay, download what you need to download, usually nothing happens. And people say to me all the time, Christel, I sit and I try to meditate and bring forth and download and channel and well, what context did you put to it? Because let me tell you, if it's just about you, it's going to be difficult to bring the energy through. If you put yourself in a situation, what did I say? Humility and compassion. Put yourself in a situation where you're doing it for others. Do you understand that the showing up on this call for me is about you? So therefore, what comes through? The light. The light is drawn through me to you, for you, and me. I get it. I get the answers. For years, I've been so blessed because I've gotten the light of truth through hundreds of thousands of people. It's the higher self wisdom. It's the divine consciousness wisdom that I got to listen in on. Because why? Because I put myself in a situation where I was vulnerable. I lost myself to be a channel for you to get your answers. So we do this, and this is why it matters that we're having these conversations and that we keep going. But now it's time for us to step up, people. Step up. Step out of your comfort zone. Do it for others, for yourself. Do it for others, for yourself. Surrender. Surrender. Overcome these little fears. Get the personas out of the way. Come into a level of wholeness. Treat your container with respect. Your physical body must be upgraded because you can't reach these higher dimensional experiences. We're not talking about it as a place. We're talking about it as an experience. Your body can't handle that level of light. Again, it's like if you're a 40-watt bulb and you're trying to rush 120 volts through it. It's going to tap you out, right? So let's educate ourselves. The universe has given us the higher mind in order to have the ahas and to recognize that we can choose a context and within that have the party. Have the party, right? Because if we're going to a party and we don't know it's a birthday party and we think it's a Halloween party, we dress up in our Halloween costume, we show up and everyone looks at us like, what's going on with you? Well, no context was put to the invitation. I didn't know what it was. That's how the divine looks at us. Why are we not putting context around an experience so the divine can channel a unique frequency through us?
Yeah. Let's take this all in, each and every one of us. Let's take this for ourselves. Yes. And see where we need to realign ourselves and upgrade our intentions, maybe, and upgrade our commitment, our dedication. Right? Because it's time. get onto it, right? And to it's a good time also to decide that we are done with the frustration of, oh, I don't get my intuition, and to move on with embracing it with context.
It matters when someone, and I'm going to say this because this is so vitally important. We need validation. We need confirmation. Why are you doing it on your own? Why are you struggling? When I was asked how intuition works, Ana Maria Vasquez, I don't know if you know her, she's absolutely stunningly brilliant. She is a nature intuitive communicator and just beyond. Totally my heart. But she asked me, how does intuition work? And I recognize intuition as a science. I recognize it in the context, right, of the terminology that we have and the ways that we look at metaphysics and cosmology and all of that. But that's when the structure was channeled for the intuitive assessment. And in the intuitive assessment gives you a structure to have someone. It doesn't have to be me, but it's just that I created this because I was asked. And so I put context and I put form and I put structure, and I started understanding how one flows specifically the light through their container in a unique way. If you don't know that, you need to know that. You need to know that. Only if you truly want to expand intuitive knowing and understand what you're doing when you're doing it. Only if. Because it's okay if you say, but Christel, when I go up to someone, I put my hands on them, they heal. Great. But do you want to know how that's happening through you uniquely? Do you want to understand that? Why would you want to understand it? So you can elevate beyond that. Right? So just for you, Sophie, as you came through and you got your special gift assignment in Academy, you took moments, you took pieces of that and you explored and you practiced and you expanded, and then that led you to this other little point, this other puzzle piece, and you brought that in and you expanded. The vision that we have of you expanded. And now you're in this interplay, this dance of light and love and expression, and you keep growing and we keep watching you. And look at you. Right? I mean, I got full body chills. Because if you would have just stayed in your, this is what I do and this is what I've done and this has been my modality, it's fine. But that's not the full, it's not playing in the infinite playground. It's like going to the playground and only swinging on the swings, every time. Yeah. So yes, you can play and you can limit that, and that's fine. There's no judgment here. But what we're doing is we're wanting to inspire, because Sophie and I have gone through this. It's a conscious dance and co-creation with the divine every day. And we can't stop ourselves now because we're just being animated by it. Right? And so I want everyone to know you can get confirmation. You can get validation for what you're doing, and you can get an explanation. Well, Christel, when I do this, this happens. Why? Okay, well, here's why. Right? And now I'm working on the dimensional intuitive assessment so that we can understand you dimensionally. But as we go through these dimensions, Sophie, what we start to see is in this degree of our own adventure of our intuition and these degrees of development that we have, it's just like anything else. It's like our conscious development that we have. We start to see that we go in, and I'm going to start at the fourth dimension here. I just want to share just briefly so everyone understands. When we talk about the fourth dimension, we're talking about intuition here really involves sensing energies, emotions, experiences beyond that immediate present. And we feel the influences around us. We call that an extrasensory intuitive. And it's really when we start to see that they use their clairs across the board, right? Your clairsentience, your clairgnostic, your clairaudience, your abilities of your knowing, your feeling, your sensing, your hearing, like all of it, right? The clairs are working simultaneously. Now, when we move to that fifth dimension, we start to say multisensory, because even though the extrasensory is expanded beyond and it can use all of the clairs, we start to see that multisensory goes to the next level in which we're utilizing and knowing everything simultaneously with that. It's not, oh, I'm switching from one to the other, to the other, to the other. Oh, I'm using my clairaudience now. Oh, I'm using my clairvoyance now. Or I'm using my clairaudience and my clairsentience together now. Multisensory means that you are naturally and organically drawing the energies through your being simultaneously and able to have the hearing, knowing, seeing, feeling, right? Now, as we start to go to the sixth dimension, this is where, oh my goodness, we start to connect with the broader spectrum of experiences and potentialities. And this is where we go into the feminine nature. It's the magnetic feminine nature. And we start to draw the energy. And this is where a lot of synchronicities happen for us. But we start to see that the magnetic energy, things are literally brought to us. Things are brought to us. We don't reach for anything. We don't have to understand anything. We literally come into a state of magnetism, of insights, of information. And yes, we start to perceive parallel lifelines. We start to perceive alternate realities. And again, we're connecting with that broader spectrum. When we go to the seventh dimension, this is the holographic dimension. And again, masculine intuition plays a role here because the holodeck, you can imagine that it is a structural experience where things can become or be pictured as a hologram. But this is about really perceiving the underlying patterns and structures. Whereas on that fifth dimensional reality, we come into understanding sacred geometry, those types of symbols. In the seventh dimension, we're really perceiving underlying patterns and structures of the universe. We get this whole picture from different angles. And then we start to go into that eighth and ninth dimension. And this is profound. And this was where my illumination took me this time. So in that, I'll share with you on the call that we have coming up what my experience was in going from the holographic nature of us and the holodeck as a structure, if you will, to really expanding beyond that and understanding how the hologram works with the eighth and ninth dimensions. So hopefully that just helps to kind of round out the conversation today. I know we want to get into our readings, so
yes, absolutely. And we're going to get to the questions, but you've already answered one, which was actually my burning question, which is how do we know at which dimensional level our intuition is operating? So you've given us some good elements to check within ourselves where we are at. So thank you for that. That's really brilliant. And I believe that, yes, next week in your forthcoming Graceful Connections, we're going to dive deeper into the sixth dimension. And that's very intriguing for me. That, you know what's intriguing for me? And again, maybe let's answer this today or not, or leave it to the mystery for a week. It's so intriguing to me that in the path of what you have been offering to us and the way you lead us, right, which is you are led to lead us and to reveal things and to take us places. And there was the need to go from fifth to seventh, and like we are now about to catch up with the sixth. And to me, that's very intriguing because there's something to the organic growth that I've been shown a few years ago, how organic growth operates, in which there's a need for a structure. So a masculine, once
That's
a
right.
healthy masculine is there, right, it allows for the feminine to flow, which then allows for a higher structure to emerge. So that's a higher masculine higher structure coming up, which allows for a higher feminine. So I can see through the different dimensions, I can see this organic growth model, let's say, operating, but there's something very tricky or intriguing or very special about why there was the need to go from fifth to seventh and then to catch up with the sixth. There's something there. And
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to,
yeah.
do you want to answer to this now? We keep
Well,
the
I don't need
mystery,
to answer. I think I can just say, you know, in the academy all those years, just in giving the example of this, would you pour your most precious resource of, let's say, water into a bucket that had holes in it?
The dirty bucket. Yeah.
And the masculine being the bucket and the feminine being the precious resource of intuition, light, and water, right? So we must have a strong container, a strong structure, and a context. And when the divine feminine opens herself to share the most precious resource, which is light and love, insight, frequencies, awareness, perception, it will flow into your being. You, like I said, you won't be able to stop it at some point. You know, I mean, the brilliance of that is, what can we do to ensure the light and the love want to flow through our structures of our own being? What can we do? What is our role? The light's going to come through anyway. There is no separation. It's not like we're reaching for the light and we're reaching for the love. We are love and light. But if you are committed to a greater depth of awareness, which can support you in utilizing your true physical being and this incarnation as it's like a moment in time that you can really utilize to support a greater jump, a quantum jump in your elevation. You can do that. And it's called bringing awareness to what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're functioning, what you have control of. And you have control of identifying patterns in the way. You have control of asking questions on this call, to have me read you, to have me validate, to have me confirm for you. And you have control of making better choices of what you're putting in your body, because you know if you put something into your body that's not a vibrational match, it's going to drop your energy down versus lift your energy up, right? So we have choices, and this is not about guilting anyone. This is not about guilting, because we have cycles, and some of the cycles we go through, we're going to have greater levels of, courage and belief in ourselves. And other times we'll be in a dormancy cycle, and we won't have that level of strength maybe to say no to something. But overall, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle when you are holistic. and you are living in holistic awareness every single day, and then you bring it to every single moment. And what I'm saying is, there's the chocolate chip cookie, and I'm now feeling the resonance of that. And then I get to choose. And if I choose, oh, there's a resonance that's actually not going to, lift me up. My body's going to have to take extra energy to digest that and process that. But I still choose to eat it. That's fine, because I'm in agreement. But if I'm doing that over and over and just constantly, choosing to put things in and to align, that's just an alignment with something that is incongruent with me, my true nature. If I continue to do that, whether it's a cookie or whether it's a movie or whether it's a person, I can't continue to process all that energy that's incongruent and still be asking for this most precious resource of the divine to come through me in a way that I'm going to be able to have that crisp clarity, specificity, and certainty. So that's why before we do a Reiki attunement, we fast. And, we do extra chanting, or we do extra prayer work, or, right? That's why, because we purify our being. And when we are in that purified state, we literally are at a higher vibration. We literally are more congruent with the higher frequencies that we say that we want to move through us. When we say we want to know, when we say and we ask and we pray to the divine for answers, our character has to match that. And so all we're saying is be as congruent as possible. Use your strength of your divine will and your pure heart connection and really amplify that. Spend time doing meditation. Spend time doing chanting. Do what you need to do for your physical body to make the best choices for you. That will help your intuition. It's all interconnected. And it will allow you, to whatever degree the grace comes, right? The grace will come to bring you the insights you need. And yes, Sophie, sometimes it's the moment before you're taking the step. It's a slight split-second moment. Mm-hmm. And we have to train ourselves to know that. And it's a feeling tone. It's a vibration. So the purer we can just be in our consciousness, in our awareness, we're gonna excel in that. We're gonna excel.
Yeah. That's where, well, yes, that's the new human, right? That's the ascended human. That's how the ascended human operates. So that's where we're headed. Yeah, thank you, Christel. Okay, I'm looking, I'm browsing through the questions, and what we're going to do today, we're not going to have you for intuitive readings. We're going to have you next week for that. I want to take questions that are of interest to many at once. So I'm scrolling through the questions, and thank you everyone for all your wonderful questions. I think, Christel, you've answered already. There are many questions about trusting. How can I trust my intuition? Trusting, and also many questions about where does my resistance comes from, right? My resistance to embracing my intuition. So I believe that you've addressed these two pretty much already. Is there anything that you feel like adding to these two questions? The one of how can I trust, the one of how can I, liberate myself from this resistance that I may have. Is there anything more about that?
Besides really understanding your constitution, everyone has a constitution, just like you have a physical constitution. You have an intuitive constitution, and there are energies that are wanting to animate you, archetypal frequencies, archetypal energies, which are directly linked to the role that the divine wishes you to play in this lifetime? Do you know your archetypal frequencies? Do you know what role you're meant to play? And again, when you start to work on clearing the aspects, the personas, the fractured off parts of you that are influencing you, you come into a greater level of wholeness when you address them and heal them. And then the archetypal frequencies can flow in, which is really magical, right? Because we can start to see what kind of channel you are. We can start to see what kind of intuitive you are. And even, your magician, your wizard, all the alchemist, all of these amazing archetypes, the visionary type that you are, all of that. The other thing that I would say is be careful with what you're trying to keep out. Some people we see will create issues. This is a common one with your clairaudience. They will shut down their clairaudience because they're tired of hearing the nonsense around them. So you'll get ear problems, hearing problems, things like that, which directly impact that clairaudience triangle. Throat issues, if you're refusing to communicate, if you are instead choosing to be passive aggressive in your dynamic, in your behavior, instead of when the light of truth comes through and you're in a situation with a person and you need to express your truth in that moment, if you deny it, turn away, walk away, close the door, and don't come out for 3 days and then bring up the subject, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not acting with your intuition. That's the same thing. You're rejecting the light. So that's a clairaudience issue. And so you knew, you felt, you heard, you knew what your truth was, and you didn't communicate it. You didn't bring it to light. You didn't illuminate that person, and you didn't share it. How many intuitives on this call write down things that they've gotten, intuitive hits, brilliant ideas, and they've got journals and journals and journals full of it, but you've never brought it out. You've not shared it. I always encourage everyone. We've got a beautiful community. I don't care what it is. Share it with us, because it's going to spark an aha in ourselves. Oh, I got that too. Oh my gosh. That reminded me of this thing that I wrote down. If you're not consistently bringing the light out and sharing it, it's difficult for the divine to bring more in. Why?
Yeah.
Right? So I think we have to look at those types of situations as well. We have amazing, brilliant, godly willer, amazing, brilliant intuitive, right? I know she's going to be on our summit. Amanda Hopkins is going to be on our summit. Sophie, you're going to be on our summit. Brilliant Academy peeps that, are just, they practice this. They practice it. It's their life. And we're only bringing that out. It's not in comparison, but it's that if you can look at them as an example to inspire your heart to be in greater levels of devotion, you have so much devotion and dedication to the divine that you are willing to do whatever it takes to clean up these personas that have you acting in ways that are defiant or that are resistant or that are punishing you or that are keeping you down and sabotaging you, right? So the examples are here to inspire and to really let those archetypal frequencies come in and recognize the truth of you and believe in yourself, because you put yourself in a situation that, yes, it might be scary, but I'm coming out. I'm coming out as my true self. I'm going to share, and I'm going to bring that wisdom to my community that is safe, that is loving, that is kind, that will acknowledge you. Don't bring it to the people that don't acknowledge you. How many have said to me, they won't listen to me? Well, who are you talking to? You're talking to the people that don't even get it. They don't understand. Like, again, the context is wrong. The context is incongruent. Speak it out to the people and in the communities that are lovingly aware of your brilliance and can acknowledge you, can confirm what you're saying, can validate you. Let that be.
Yes. Thank you. I love it that you don't hesitate to get it out and get it clear and kind of kick our intuitive.
I wasn't always that
kick
way.
our
I was
intuitive
shy.
butts when needed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I had a
But that's the
horrible fear
way.
of public speaking. Yeah, I mean, I've done the work. I've gotten over it. I'm way over it. I'm way over it now.
Yeah. But that's the way, I want to share something that illustrates this, that in my experience when in private sessions, when I'm in private sessions with clients, there's something very interesting that it happens every time. I can't move on with the process until I've shared all that needs to be shared. And not more, right? Well, as soon as everything that is necessary for the client to receive, and it's not my filter, oh, she needs this or she needs that. It's totally my assignment, right? To deliver this. Not until I've delivered everything that's needed for the client, I cannot move on. The moment everything has been delivered, it just like goes by itself. And the reason why I share this is that I see this as an illustration as how it goes on in our life, and with every one of us. Like, that's what you've explained to us. It's just the illustration of how I experience it in the context of, which is that's a context, right? Client session is a context. It operates very finely in that way. One thing I would like to suggest to everyone, because I feel as I'm looking through the questions, most of the questions have been answered actually. I'll pick one or two, but I want to invite everyone, once we're done, stay with us because we're not done yet, but come back to this call and come back to the replay. Come with your intuitive senses and listen to all that Christel has shared. Take your time, make pauses when you need, and listen with your sense of asking which of this is for me, where and when is Christel talking to me directly, and make notes of this in terms of what are your blocks, how do I trust more, what is blocking my clairaudience, what is blocking this, what is blocking that. Listen to all that Christel has spoken. And with this question, where and when is Christel talking to me? And really take your time, take it in your meditation, take it slowly and make notes and get more than your question. Like, you get many questions that you didn't even ask yet, you get your answers. That's one invitation that I have for everyone listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So with that, I'll take one. There's one question that really interests me. Not only it interests me, but I use my scan, right? The life is so easy when we can scan, isn't it, Christel? So then you don't have to wonder this one or that one. Just scan and do what the scan says. So we have a question from Sadie Q, who asks, is there a certain place inside of ourselves that we can go to make our intuition more available or accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is an inner sanctum within our being. It's not the sacred space of the heart. It's not like when you think, oh, let's go into our heart, everyone. Drop down. That's lovely. That's a sacred space. That's not the inner sanctum, though. When we follow the path to the inner sanctum, and it requires humility humility is a key. When we humble ourselves before divine masculine and feminine, whatever version of that is for you, you will meet the divine there. And you'll be able to access divine mother, divine father in this inner sanctum. In that space, if you can truly settle down and in the practice of your meditation or whatever that is, walking contemplation or chanting until your mind goes and then you have the stillness after that chanting, if you can bring that, if you can bring the emptiness into that space, that is the ultimate place of what we say, what we use in our terms of 0 point, of oneness, allness, nothingness. The emptying out and the vulnerability that we bring, as well as this true experience of being in wonderment. Wow, it's like in awe and wonderment and just literally the nothingness. If we can play inside that space and we can bring it to our everyday experience, that's where we're going to be able to access all, what we would say, all time, space, realities, dimensions, directions simultaneously. And that place is real. It's a real place. We can go there, and that's where we communicate with all beings. Doesn't matter if it's a tree or a rock, or if it's the sun, or if it's Mercury, or if it's our interstellar team, or if it's our oracle guides or constellations. It really doesn't matter. And we are in a heightened state. Everything for me, and what I would recommend everyone do in your daily prayer, is to ask, let my intuition be 100% accurate with specificity and certainty. And when you do that, just as we teach in Academy, become the living truth. Become it. You're the embodiment of it. You're walking truth. You're living truth. You're breathing truth. That is pure light. And that will support you, because in any split second, you'll be in the absolute knowing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes.
You're welcome.
Okay, before I take another question, but again, reading through the questions, so many have been answered. You also have, Christel, something very special and exclusive for our audience today. Would you tell us all about it?
Oh, sure. I mean, and this just came through because there was an invitation. Again, there's a context, there's an invitation, and it's called Intuition Evolution. So if you want to play in this realm, unlock the dimensional vibrational frequencies within you, Archangel Raziel gave me permission in that experience that I had, gave me permission to be a conduit, if you will, and it's almost like a connector, connecting. So what I've put together for you is this experience that we're going to have in two different ways. And one is a remote activation with attunement. And I want you to really get a sense that this is about developing your dimensional intuition and to start to allow yourself to be attuned in this sacred way. I'm going to actually call in Archangel Raziel with that column. We're going to place you in that column. And one of the things that needs to be done is really awakening what we're saying is the cosmic eye. It's like, think of like a higher dimensional third eye. It's in that holographic body. And so as we start to see that, Archangel Raziel brings forth the secrets of the universe, helps you with these questions for yourself, gaining the answers, having the mysteries unfold before you like you're just reading a book. It's all there for you. So really starting to focus in on that clarity, that capacity to really get into the depth of the knowing. But in this experience of our remote healing, we're going to be on the holodeck, and we're going to journey to the Hall of Celestial Scrolls, just as I did, right? Stepping into this divine library of the universe, selecting the celestial scroll that's crafted specifically for your soul's journey, and starting to integrate that wisdom into your intuitive practice. So bringing that guidance, bringing that clarity to your own path. And then what I absolutely adore and love is that we're going to invite Archangel Raziel to bring you a blessed cosmic amulet. And that's going to be charged. I've already had this conversation with Archangel Raziel. The divine energy of awakening and the attunement, attuning you. This is on all dimensions of your being because you're infinitely dimensional internally. But this amulet can literally be your constant source to engage the intuitive strength, to allow you to have the context around you, the supportive container, if you will, so that when you're navigating the cosmic realms, which we're all doing right now, we're navigating these realms and these dimensions in our greater exploration through our expansion and our elevation. And if you act fast, now I don't know, Sophie will tell you, but if you act fast on getting this, I'm literally going to write all the information that I get about your specific amulet. And I'm telling you, I already practiced on someone, and it's absolutely stunning what comes through. It is so interesting. It is so unique. It is vibrational. You can read, literally read about it because we're going to be sending this information through email. But if I can just share just a little bit, because I know that people want to know now that I'm talking about it, but really starting to, to understand the details about this. I'm going to describe it, vivid description, its appearance, the symbols, the materials, and each element of the amulet holds that significant meaning for you. It can amplify your intuitive gifts. So I want to talk about how it aligns with the soul's purpose, and then how you can really use this and include it in your meditation, in your rituals that you do, right? It allows you to really fully harness it. So I'm going to have the guidance come through of how you can use it, right? And then to allow this to be a celestial ally for you. So I'll send that to you in email. So you'll have that in email, exactly what came through, what your amulet is, how to use it, what to do from here on out, what it's all about. It's so special, and I've never done it before. So I just love that it's come through, and it's totally encoded. Everything's encoded within your amulet. So this is really exciting. Now, again, that's remote, okay? But we're going to be on the holodeck, and then I'm going to share with you through email how to go about meeting me there on the holodeck. I've been doing it for years and years, and it's so brilliant and so beautiful. Now, also, we're going to have a live call experience. I know! It's not just remote healing, which is amazing, but we're literally going to have a live call experience because what we're doing in the remote healing, I've also found that it's so beautiful to be able to interact together, to just be on this live call. Now, in this, we're going to go into the realm of mystical light like I did. And through that, we go into this enchanted grove. It's an initiation by Archangel Raziel. It's this brilliant crystalline tree. All the sacred runes are there. The symbols are there. You're going to connect with your energy, and the power of this ritual summons Archangel Raziel. So you're going to feel the embrace of this divine magic coming through you. And this is all about the dimensional intuition, revealing the brilliance of your cosmic sight. Now, there's going to be transmissions. We'll take a moment in that experience where you're going to actually dance with the symbols and really allow it to unlock your perception abilities. And we call that multiple perspectivality. We call it your capacity as that multi-dimensional intuitive now, activating the cosmic eye, right? Expanding beyond the ordinary, allowing you access to the hidden realms. We'll go into the Hall of Celestial Scrolls. You're going to get your scroll. Like I got my scroll. That's how I knew about the amulet. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting chills right now. And then really integrate that, gain the final blessing, and then come back with that energy, having been empowered and emboldened to live your purpose, and to let Archangel Raziel be a consistent blessing for you in your life. So that is what we're offering today. We couldn't help ourselves because we're together, and we're talking about all of this good stuff. So that's what we've put together. And yeah, and then you'll get when it's happening. And don't worry about it, because if we need to open more time slots, we can do that with, opening more live calls and things like that. So don't worry about the timing. If you're called to this and you can attend, that's fine. If you can't, for the remote healing, we're going to be on the holodeck. It's a virtual experience. No matter where you are, I'm going to be able to read you. That's my ability as an intuitive. And being able to even listen, we're always embedding into these live experiences through the golden grid of grace. That structure contains the wholeness of the experience. So it doesn't matter when you listen to it. It's infused with that energy. The container is a pure crystalline energy. Just like a crystal soaks up and holds light and energy, so does our crystalline container. So always feel free, no matter what, if you're drawn to it. Don't let your mind get in the way and stop you because, I'm not available at that time. That's why I don't usually put time in my emails. People get frustrated at me. It's like, no, you need to make this decision from your heart. Stop making it from your mind. Let yourself be guided in a different way. Get out of your comfort zone and really trust what you need to get is what you're going to get. And I will validate that for you because I'm going to share with you about the amulet. You'll get that. So I would definitely say act fast. I'll let you have the floor.
Yes.
I have no idea what the boundaries are there.
Thank you. So, yes, let's get practical. So, first, to purchase, you have the link on your webcast page and on your replay page. You have the button, very visible button, Intuition Evolution with Archangel Raziel. You also have the link. And tomorrow, Wednesday, you will get an email with all the details, all that Christel shared and more details, and you obviously will be able to purchase it as well. So that's one more good reason to sign up for Graceful Connections. And you also have this link on your webcast and replay page. Sign up for Graceful Connections because there are some things that are going to be available to you only by email. So make sure to get everything. So sign up there tomorrow on your email. You're going to get all the details if you're not already ready to take the step. What you talked about right now, Christel, about the date and everything, we're back to taking the step before the ground is visible, right? Just take the step and the ground will show itself in the perfect way for you. And I know for sure that the more we do this, the more we play this, the more it plays with us, the more it becomes real. So it's just a matter of, having the first initiative of taking the first step of the first leap of faith in that way, the first step of faith. And oh, it worked. It worked really well. It worked even better. It worked out even better for me than I would ever have thought. And then the next time it's easier and it's easier, and then it becomes your natural, right? So all details tomorrow by email, and the early bird bonus is it's a 24-hour bonus. So let's say that it's until midnight Pacific on Wednesday, the 11th, tomorrow. Okay. So make sure to either purchase right now, or if you need to read about it and feel good about it as you read it, check your emails tomorrow and sign up now for the emails if you are not signed up now. Okay?
Beautiful.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Christel. I love it. I love it. I'd love to close with one question that I feel is gonna be very supportive to everyone, and we're kind of, in a way, it looks like we're coming back to the ground, because when we hang up from the calls, then we're back in our reality, right? So how do we bring all this into our reality? Now, the question from April is about how to best navigate the complexities of the information we are bombarded with. Are there necessary skills supporting discernment and best practices? And I have a sense of what you're going to talk about, and I feel that it's going to be of great support to everyone listening. Yeah.
Well, I think just again, one of the things that I've said, when we have information we're bombarded with, what's happening is there's multiple frequencies that are carried through that information that are poking at us. It literally stings our aura, right? It stings our aura. And so one of the things that we have to recognize is when we are extra vulnerable with our aura, and we need to know what our astrological chart shows. So are we in a more vulnerable state? Let's say we're in a dormancy cycle, just like a tree in wintertime, right? It has to drop its leaves. It becomes very vulnerable at that time. There's a loss, and there's a propensity for loss, but that's only because it's time for renewal. So there are moments when our aura is really strained. It can be struggling, if you will. We're meant to actually go more interior instead of being out and putting ourselves in a situation where we are so vulnerable to this information or to a person or to whatever channel it might come through. It could be a portal that it's coming through, right? So one of the things is know what cycle you're in. We have an amazing Vedic astrologer that we can give you information about. So that's the first thing. The other thing is to be very discerning. Everyone, we need to be very, very discerning. I was just talking to one of my closest friends who is a brilliant pranic healer. In fact, he and I are going to be offering something on our next call together, which is so beautiful. But what we're looking at is how we offer our beautiful, valuable energy. Just like I said, that the precious water isn't going to flow into a container that has holes in it. We have to be discerning of who and what context, what container we share our precious resource of our intuition with. And if we are living truth and we are a living light being, without judging, we are discerning, right? We become the witness observer so we don't judge. And in that, we just collect the light of data that's coming to us. In other words, where do you put yourself? Where are you placing yourself? Where do you spend your time? What portals do you open up on your computer? right? So I created our beautiful community, our school group, which is not Facebook, by the way. It is a pure container, and in that pure container, everyone can feel safe. You're not going to see entities flying around in that container. You're not going to be zapped and taken out and banged on the head, if you will, in that container. It's lovely. It's engaging. It's beautiful. Be there. And if you can't, if you're talking about a situation in which you are out, let's say you have to go to a job, and you're in that space, then what you can do is you can amplify the outer edge of your aura. You can literally bring in cosmic light. You can, now this is all saying that you've done your work, because if you've got personas that are running you or overrunning you, it becomes very difficult to even maintain your energetic field. But let's say that you've done a lot of healing work, and it's healing work that actually works. And you know that you're more integrated now, you have a strong constitution, and you are bringing that light in, and you can allow that aura to have the golden grid move through it. And that golden grid, as it connects to your heart, can actually be a structure that you put. If you are in a cubicle, you can put a grid in the cubicle. You can put a grid on the door, so if anybody comes to your office and walks through, there's a purification that's going to happen as they walk through that holographic grid, right? So there's many magical things that you can do. One of the things, though, is be way more discerning than you've been. Everyone, we have to increase our level of discernment, and we have to go along with what we discern. We have to believe what we are being shown. There's nothing worse than putting our time and energy and attention towards someone that has shown us that they're not a match for us. How many of us have been in relationships where we give ourselves over because we're in the shadow caregiver, shadow rescuer, shadow savior as a persona, and we're not discerning that they showed us that in the very beginning of our relationship, and we didn't listen. We didn't take that sensation to heart and set the strong boundary. So that is one of the things that we would do. Now, the other thing we are going to talk about with as far as entity energies or anything like that, I'm going to be sharing in our next talk about what I had happen to me and what we discovered that actually would make us pretty vulnerable to these energies, and how to remove that so that you can absolutely step up. And when this was shifted, when it was cleared within my energetic body, that allowed the space for me to have this full-on illumination that I was referencing earlier. So I would definitely say be on that call. Know that any of you feel free to reach out to ask us questions. If you need more one-on-one, obviously today we are offering what we're offering, but I want you to feel that, we can always scan for you which practitioner to work with during our Graceful Connections experience, and we can match you up and pair you up and connect you if you have very specific things you need to work on. We have a vast number of healers that have been validated, that I've actually been in session observing them working on somebody else, which is what we do in Academy, so that I know what they're doing, and I know how accurate they are, and I know that what they say they're doing, they're actually doing. So feel free to use us as a resource for that, and to connect with us. Okay?
Yes, and a great place, a great way to do that is in the school platform. That's the best, that's the easiest and most practical way to get these questions answered. So to reach out to you.
Sure, absolutely.
And yeah, so, and that's a perfect transition, Christel. Yes, you're going to be the first speaker on Graceful Connections next week, opening the dance, opening the lineup. You're going to be on Wednesday, September 18th at 9 a.m. Pacific. So everyone mark your calendar, book your time. Wednesday, September 18th. Christel is going to share about magnetic intuition. We have snippets of insights about this, what it is about, and you're going to talk about harnessing 6D energies for multidimensional channeling. So that's where we take the deep dive into the 6D intuition. Looking forward to this. And you're going to do live intuitive reading. So that's where we're going to get very personal. So everyone, you're going to be able to ask Christel, what degree am I utilizing my magnetic intuitive 6D abilities? So Wednesday, September 18th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah. See you there. We will be there. Let's take a moment. Yes. Yes. To be continued, right? All of this is going to be continued and it's going to get more precise and more personal as well. Now, for now, let's just take a moment to be present once again to the orb of grace, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have received, experienced today, all that we're not even yet aware that we have received, allowing it to settle in, holding us for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all, as we are held in grace. And I invite you to join me already on Friday, September 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific for the Graceful Connections 4 experiential launch call. We're going to prime your subtle bodies to gracefully catalyze your intuition. And there will be gifts of power claiming keys for live callers. Those are mantras of the heart that have the power to change your life. So you have the access link on your webcast page, on your replay page, and of today's call, and make sure to sign up. Again, sign up at gracefulconnections.com to get all the invitations, the special calls, the special announcements, the special bonuses, and your sacred welcome gifts from our brilliant expert speakers. And we're closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for joining us today on the live call, on the replay. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and for contributing with your presence to this celebration today. We had such an amazing time together, and it wouldn't be quite the same without you. So thank you. Thank you for your presence, your attention. They matter and they are treasured. Thank you. And immense gratitude to you, Christel, for your brilliant, generous offering. It is always such a treat to share the space with you, and we appreciate and cherish all your insights, all you have shared, all you are offering. Thank you for blessing us from your generous and graceful heart. Thank you, Christel.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and taking this moment to just send waves of gratitude and love from my heart to all of yours. But let's, as a collective, just send waves of love and light from our heart space, sending it out to those in need right now, just blessing them in celebration of each one of you and in celebration of all the brilliant beings in all the dimensions. Thank you for this truth that has come through today. Blessings be each one of you, and I can't wait for Graceful Connection. Yay! Okay, everyone.
Thank you.
Many
blessings. Graceful blessings to you all until we meet again very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
you.